Okay, go.
Vaheguru
Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.
My name is Hardeep Singh and welcome to the Sovereign State of Mind. Today with me I have Suraj Sudera. Suraj's story of how he got into Sikhi and how he got to the place he is now is a very interesting story, so this is why we've got you on the podcast. I've known you for a very long time. I think the first time we met, it was outside that restaurant in Birmingham. I don't know if you remember, but I knew your cousin. So me and your cousin Vic were very good friends, and I met you via that. Back then you're on the Bhangra team, so you're a big Bhangra guy. That's at uni. And then your transition to being in the Bhangra team to where you are now, and the person you are now, I think it's remarkable. We box together, we do a lot together, so I know you very well. But tell us a bit of your story. So how do you get from boxing team to Bhangra team to boxing team?
Yeah, it's quite a lot to discuss in that sense. So I suppose it probably started many years before. You grow up and you kind of question the way things are done. So my family, they're Hindu Punjabi.
Okay. Yeah.
So growing up, I went to the Gurdwara, also went to the Mandir, and you kind of probe people to say, why is this done this way? Why is this done this way? And you don't really get a satisfactory answer. So I kind of, growing up, I think I just became atheist as I kind of learned about science and all that kind of stuff.
So you thought science is the way?
Yeah, you think science is Pradhan, basically. And then maybe when I was like 16, 17, there used to be a guy who used to live on my street who I was good friends with, and he mentioned something called spiritual enlightenment. At the time, I was too naive or anything to understand what that is, but the seed was kind of, it kind of stuck with me, what he said. Fast forward a few years later, maybe when I was 18, I realised that my mind is quite hectic, very racy, and so I tried to Google like ways to kind of calm your mind. So when I was Googling this, what came back was meditation is a way to calm your mind, and the meditation that was prescribed was like Zen Buddhist, like has Zen meditation as per the Buddhists do it.
Yeah.
So I tried to do that, tried to do breathing and whatnot. I just didn't have the discipline to do it at a consistent level. Then I went to uni, and then I got caught up in the life, the uni life, drinking, going out, partying, Bhangra, and then that kind of emptiness of what is this entire thing, like creation, life, that stuck with me. That question stuck with me. And maybe when I was on my placement year, so maybe a couple of years later, I probably got time to think a bit more, because I was probably partying less, so you're kind of in the present a bit more. And I kind of, my thoughts and my vichars start to get quite deep, like if an electron's like orbiting an atom, how does an electron know it has to do that? Like if you drop a pen, how does it know it has to hit the ground? And so again, my mind started becoming quite racy again. And I thought, now's the time to try and do the Buddhism, the Zen meditation again. Yeah. But again, I didn't really have the discipline to do it, and I kind of used to procrastinate, thinking, when I move back to uni my final year, I'll do it then. So I came to my final year, and I was like, okay, now this year I'm going to focus. I'm going to actually focus and go to lectures and be a good student.
So actually focus on uni.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I was quite motivated actually to actually focus this time, because I didn't really go to lectures and stuff. And when I was trying to research on how to do this, like meditation and stuff like that, I came across a video of Jagraj Singh of Basics of Sikhi, and before that video, my stance on God and I didn't know whether there was God or not, So I used to kind of think if the Big Bang created everything, what created the Big Bang? And then likewise, if God created everything, what created God? So I used to be kind of agnostic, like I don't know either way which way it is. So that's why I probably resonated with what I thought was Buddhism at the time, because it was like, it doesn't really care what
it doesn't address that subject.
It doesn't address it. It's like, I think the common analogy is, if you was to be shot Are you going to go and look for a doctor, or are you going to go and look for the person who shot you? Anyway, so I came across this video, and it basically said you can experience God. I was like, what? You can experience God? Yeah, so apparently if you do this thing called Naam Simran, and you say Vaheguru, and then, you know, focus your attention on it, you can experience God. And I was like, whoa, I've never heard of this before, what are you talking about? And I was so captivated by that, and I literally, I'd spend days, weeks, all my time just watching these basics of Sikhi videos, and I was proper, like, I was sold, but I was still quite, like, what I thought at the time practical and unbiased. So I started researching other religions. I started researching Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, etc. Obviously with the lens that I had at the time. And at the time, Sikhi, the way it was presented to me, stood out to be the simplest and what made sense to me, like logical. Anyway, I started doing the Naam Simran, and like it did 100% change my life. And I think I suppose from around that point I became a Sikh.
Okay.
Or try what I thought was Sikh.
So at what point was this then? So you've is this after uni or while you?
This is final year of uni, so probably around November, December of my final year of uni.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah.
So when did you go Boss Camp? Because I remember we met at Boss Camp.
So that was 2016. So when I got into Sikhi final year of uni was around 2014. So November,
that's 2
December.
Years after.
Yeah, November, December 2020.
So what happened in them 2 years?
So what happened in them 2 years was that I continued to just do research what it is. Tried my best to try and practice Naam Simran. I started doing Path and stuff like that. I was very, very interested in the spirituality side. What happened during that time was I started to learn more about the Khalsa and stuff. Over that time, walk the path, fell off the path, walk the path, fell off the path, because I was still at uni. I would still drink, I was still partying, still do that whilst I'm trying to kind of balance and try and make an effort on this new life. And we went to Boss Camp.
I mean that what I found really interesting when we met at Boss Camp was, what really took me back was the fact that I'm talking to someone that, you're at the time you're Monna, you're the cousin is with you, so I knew you're from a Hindu Parivar, but your knowledge, you knew a lot of of our history, because that really took me out. You knew about Japji Sahib, and you had a lot of emphasis on Naam Simran, which really took me back, because you get a lot of people now that even though they become Sikh, they Amrit Shaklandeya, they do Nitnem, but they don't have a lot of emphasis on Simran. And Simran is the core, is the core principle of Sikhi.
100%.
Which is one of my favourite things about your kind of story. It's the fact that your whole kind of your pathway to Sikhi was through Naam, which is through Simran, which is the most purest thing that I think is in existence. And that on its own is great, and then you can see the transition. So from Boss Camp, you have learned from basics. Everything, is it fair to say a lot of what you learned was from basics?
Oh, 100%,
So
100%.
you've learned a lot from basics Sikhi. You're doing Simran. How did you then transition into becoming a boxer, taking Shastra Vidya seriously, actually getting to that point where you're ready to take Amrit, Khande Ke Paul, sorry. How did you get to that point?
So I would say I flirted with Sikhi for some time. I tried to do the things that I thought was correct, like I became vegetarian. I would start keeping my gas, and then for whatever reason, like my family would be like, to Aki Karda and stuff like that. I'd go through phases where I'd be very motivated, or then I'd fall off. And when I'd fall off, there was a point where I kind of hit a rock bottom. And I was like, this is just not the life. Like, this is not I cannot live my life like this anymore. So literally, I went to the Gurdwara. I did like the most heartfelt ardas I feel like I've ever done. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna become a Singh.
So when you were doing Simran and when you were you saying you were falling off the path,
Yeah.
while you were climbing the path and when you were on it with your Simran, how did you feel different?
100%.
Okay.
100%.
So you could feel the difference then.
100%. Yeah.
So you felt it down.
Yeah. It's like it goes back to that whole, like, you know, as far back as I can remember, or for a very long time, when you could sort of start to gain some kind of consciousness. I always felt like there was something missing. So it didn't make sense to me. Like 14 billion years of evolution, you know. Or what are we here? Are we going to be born, go to school, get a job, earn money, and then die? It didn't make sense to me, right? Like, you know,
there must be more to life.
Yeah, but there must be more to life. We're like on a ball of rock,
flying through space.
Yeah, circling a ball of fire.
Yeah,
floating through
God knows what.
God knows what. You know what I mean? So that always remained that thought, and that still remains. Like that, what keeps me kind of motivated.
So you've done ardas.
Yeah.
You've done the most heartfelt ardas.
Because
what was the ardas?
I was like bajalo, literally like bajalo.
From what?
From this pit of what you could call hell. Because
hell
on
earth.
Yeah, hell on earth. It's very it's glamorized. You know, it's a certain life that is everywhere. You can't avoid, like, you can be either at work, in your family, everywhere, on TV, on adverts, in your car, wherever you go. This kind of life about money, you know, partying, all these kind of things. It's just kind of everywhere, and it's become the norm. But because I lived it for a bit, I realised that this is not the way. And I looked at other people around me who were successful, and I kind of extrapolated, and I thought, they've got everything that I'm allegedly on the path to get, and they're not content. So there's definitely something missing here. And then when I started, like, you know, learning about Sikhi, and I was like, whoa, this makes complete sense. It just kind of, it was like a light, like I still remember it like quite clearly.
Yeah.
I was just so, captured by it. It literally, I became kind of obsessed. And so, but one thing looking back I learned, and one of the lessons was, like, knowledge alone isn't enough. You know, knowledge without action isn't enough. So although I was doing Simran and stuff, I would do it and then fall off. I would do it and then fall off. And then the importance of Sangat that comes into it as well. At that time I had no Sangat at all. The only Sangat I had was YouTube, you know. So maybe that's why. And so fast forward, when I've had this, when I've done this at that, I was like, yeah, I decided, like, I want to become a Saint now. Like, this is it. Because I think I grew my case and stuff a few months before, and then I ended up cutting it, and then you know, you go through this sine wave, so to speak, and I was like, what. So I did this and I was like, I thought to myself, I don't want to be the kind of Singh that carries a shastra that doesn't know how to use it. And I can't remember exactly how, but I used to follow Art of Elusive Fighting on Facebook. I can't really remember how I followed or came across them. And so I messaged her Singh. I said, can I learn? And I think that was probably like January 2018. So then
I know the reply. Can you dedicate?
Yeah, something like that. And so I came to, like, the first lesson. Yeah. And that was it, basically. That was it. And so at that point I started growing my case. I found a Sangat. I found and where before on a Saturday I'd be in a club, now I'm doing Shastra Vidya. So it completely changed, like, the routine of my life. And so what happened next was I started getting exposed to all of these grants. Yeah. Like ethos that I've never come across, you know. Panth Prakash, pre-colonial ethos. And that what that did for me was it removed loads of doubts and answered a lot of questions that I used to have before, because there used to be a lot of contradictions. And what Panth Prakash did, some of the Sakya, you know, first it solidified what it means to be a Singh. Okay, what am I aspiring to be like? And, you know, then you got the Bhai Sukha Singhs, the Bhai Mehtab Singhs,
inspirations,
Bhai Dara Singhs, you know, the people that we should aspire to be like what.
Yeah.
So the benchmark is set, and then because of that, I could kind of then see what I need to change within myself to try and be like this person, and so that's the journey. That's like from there to now. That's where I am.
So what would you say that talking about boxing and martial arts on its own, because we that art of lucifying, we then transitioned into purely boxing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
What type of qualities and gun, how has that helped you in your Sikhi? Because one thing I would say is personally what I found is doing Kshatriya, doing boxing, it's given me a different level of discipline. And I think it will relate with yourself, because by the sounds of it, when you were before you were doing similar, but you weren't disciplined.
Yeah.
You were going up and going down, and I don't think that's an issue that is solely unique to you. It's an issue that a lot of people suffer. I mean, and for me, it's given me a different level of discipline. To go to class every month, every week, is a discipline. To then go home and practice every day, it's discipline. To live a certain way of life, to condition your body, it's a discipline. And that skill, because the discipline is a skill that it can be applied into Sikhi as well. And I think that's what has helped me in that sense. How about yourself?
Absolutely. So what fundamentally is done for me is shown what level of dedication I need in Shastra Vidya, in Naam Simran, in my efforts towards Sikhi. And what it does, it demonstrates first how unsettled my mind is.
Because you get that in boxing. If you're boxing and your mind is slightly unsettled, you see it there.
Yeah.
You get caught.
Because you finish work, you come home, and you want to do an hour of boxing, and you're doing your drills, you're doing what, and then you kind of realise, actually I'm doing this, but my mind's elsewhere. And
you're not doing, or you're doing a drill with someone else.
Yeah.
And if your mind's elsewhere, you're gonna get clocked. And then you're like, crap. And you know what the issue is.
100%. So and then what it also, that dedication, because with boxing and with doing the Shastra Vidya, the effort you put in, you kind of start seeing and feeling in a more tangible way the benefits. So then you think, okay, if I start applying this in other areas of my life, I wonder how well they can be.
Exactly.
So that I'd say that's definitely the case.
One thing it's also helped me develop is because the sessions are sometimes 6 hours, and it's high intensity. So the concentration level is you develop is something else.
100%.
Because you can't I'd say for me it was easy to concentrate for an hour, and an hour wasn't too bad. But when it gets past an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, to maintain that high level of concentration, not let it drop, that was a skill that really helped me. Because now when I go into work, I can have that same level of concentration and maintain it, and go do work, come home and still do boxing, do work, come home, do boxing, and then do kirtan.
Absolutely.
And I also, and in Sikhi wise, high level concentration, so that helped me when when it comes to doing kirtan. Just to be able to switch everything off, and and just do riyaz, just do kirtan, and just focus on that one thing. It doesn't matter how tired I am or whatever. Everything in my mind, I can turn it off, because that's what you need to do when you box, when you fight. You can't have what am I eating, or this what's going on at work. You can't have any of that in your head. It all needs to be gone. And it brings us back to the concept of manajite, jagajit.
Absolutely.
And that for me, this is why one reason boxing, not just boxing, martial arts, is so important for a Sikh and humans in general, but mainly for Sikh and the Khalsa. On that subject of martial arts and the Khalsa, what do while you were coming into Sikhi and you started boxing, what did you see the relationship of martial arts and the Khalsa? How did you see that relationship?
It's inseparable, I would say. So in Panth, for instance, Maharaj, when he creates Khandi Ki Bahal, he explains why he does it. And the maryada he gives is to do things like hunting, to do Shastra Vidya, to become skilled at arms. And that is all that is all to solidify this persona of being a warrior. And when you do Shastra Vidya, you kind of, it's like the Dunning-Kruger effect. You go in, think you know a lot, and very quickly you're humbled because you realise actually I know nothing.
Yeah, you had a Muay Thai background.
Yes.
I remember.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. So you think you think you've done a bit of Muay Thai. You think you've done some kind of you think you've done something, but
when you come against someone who knows what they're doing,
it's a completely different thing.
Because I remember that one time in class is it's happened to everyone. Everyone thinks, okay, how about if I do this?
Yeah.
And because we haven't got we're developing the IQ, but when you start, you haven't got the IQ of what actually would work, what wouldn't work, and then you get humbled really, really quick because you figure and the way that BHG teaches is amazing because you don't have to figure out very quick that this ain't gonna work because if it was gonna work, it would have I could have pulled it off.
Yeah.
But no, I'm just gonna get smacked in the face because I just got smacked in the face.
Yeah, so, it's a very practical lesson.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But so I think the same thing. इतिहास च आउंदा महाराज ने सानू दस्सिया कि शस्त्र विद्या नित प्रेत अभ्यासो कि खालसा नु शस्त्र विद्या नित. So like we have Nithanim.
Yeah.
It's not like you do just have once a day or like once in your life or once a week. That's Nit. You do your Nithanim every day.
Yeah.
Same way Shastra Vidya is Nit, and it's not recommended. It's a hukam.
Yeah.
Then the Maharaj goes further on and it says, okay, you're doing it every day, but how are you going to do it?
Yeah.
Pritana.
Yeah.
So the same with your Nithanim and Japji Sahib or Moon Mantar or any sort of part you're doing, you do it Prit. You don't just it's easy to do. People, you read Japji Sahib, your mind somewhere else and just regurgitate.
You're regurgitating, yeah.
But Maharaj says not like that. You're doing it Prit, and the same concept applies to Shastra Vidya.
Absolutely.
And when I'm saying Shastra Vidya and boxing, for me that I find them quite interchangeable because it's Juddha Bias.
Yeah.
And I think that because what we've been taught and I've taken on board is Juddha Bias is just body movement, learning how to use your body. And if you learn how to use your body efficiently, you got Kirpan, you got a fist, you can use your fist, you can use your Kirpan in an efficient manner. So for me they're very interchangeable. But Maharaj says Shastra Vidya Neta Pret Abhyas Karna. So what is done consistently and with love and with abhyas? It's obsession. You have to be obsessed about it.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, this is my hobby. Shastra Vidya isn't a hobby, man.
No,
For the Khalsa, boxing, these Juddha Abhyas isn't a hobby. For the rest of the dunya, it might just be like, time pass. It's
yeah.
And and the evidence of what you become and the evidence of history, like you said, Panth Prakash by Sukha Singh, it's written that they did 8 hours or 10 hours.
So apparently, like by Sukha Singh used to drink Shahidi Day, and just do Shastra Vidya all night.
Well, and the evidence of that's our Shahid things. And then what happened after they did this abhyas? They were able to go to Jang and perform such amazing feats that you couldn't even imagine. Sometimes you watch movies, but these movies haven't even got like a hair on by Sukha Singh. And but that's our heritage.
Like,
that is the Khalsa.
The story that sticks out for me, two stories that stick out for me actually is when he disguised himself as a tax collector with Bhai Mehtab Singh when he went to Harimandir Sahib, beheaded Masarangar.
That the Halo was only a few days ago.
Yeah,
it's quite recently.
Just imagine how much. So imagine the level he must have trained at to have the confidence to go into Harimandir Sahib, which was captured. Where these guys have got a death warrant on them. To go in there and just carry that out.
Yeah.
The level of skill, the level of belief he must have in himself. It's not false confidence. It's real confidence. And then the second time was when he went on his own to Harimandir Sahib again to just dip in the pool.
Yeah.
Because he was told there was a challenge that he couldn't.
Yeah. My favourite Sakhi is the one when there was an enemy general and they were at Jang and by Sukha Singh was able to get past everyone.
Yeah.
I don't know if he took something from the general, took it all the way back without killing him and posted it back to him. And said, look, this is how good I am. I'm able to get all the way over there, touch you, and come back.
That's crazy.
Think about this level of skill.
That's crazy.
And we say like, Maharaj, the kirpa. This is kirpa.
Yeah.
This is the evidence of kirpa.
Yeah.
To see hukum, you live the path that Maharaj told us. You follow the hukam Maharaj has given us,
Absolutely.
and then you get the kirpa.
So when he went to Harimandir Sahib, for instance, they did ardas. Providence allowed situations to change so they could enter.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? And the only way you're going to do that is if you've got the blessings of Guru.
Definitely.
So how do you get the blessings of Guru?
Following the hukam.
By following the hukam. Do you know what I
Definitely.
mean? But what stuck out to me, one of the other Sakhis that stuck out to me about him was when the Pathans
Yes.
offered
Jews.
the Singhs out.
Yeah.
And so imagine there's a group of Singhs. The Pathans are making these massively, quite offensive remarks, even towards the Guru. And he was at the time exiled from the Panth. He excommunicated from the Panth. Sorry. And I think it was Maharaja Ranjit Singh's father, who was a kid at the time. He, out of all the group of Singhs, who was a younger boy, he said, "I can't take this. I'm gonna go." Sukha Singh then from like the background, saw what happened, and he said, "Look, kind of rated for what you're doing, but let me handle this." And so he then took on and defeated the Pathan warriors.
This is my favourite Sakhi, man. There's so much to learn from that Sakhi. Also, the reason why the Singhs didn't go fight. They had reasons as well, and the way that they had a discussion, an intercourse between each other, like the reasons why the Pathans, they said, okay, we'll fight you with guns, and because the Pathans had a lot of armor, and the Pathans were like, yo, we're not fighting with guns because we know you have the best shot. We've heard the Singhs shoot the best, you've got the best shot, and our armor's gonna be useless. And the Singhs like, okay, you have 5, bring 5, and we'll have 1. And the Pathans like, no, if you bande hain, fight us one by one. And then another thing I found really funny is when Sukha Singh said yes to the Patanjali Singh, he says, okay, go down to that tree and dig up this dead body of a Mughal. Like, there's a buried dead body over there. Oh no, I buried the armor of a soldier I killed previously. Go all like and I'm gonna wear that, and then I'll take these guys on. But that level of you can't see that now.
No.
And that's why I think a lot of people now are turning towards this way of life. You can either say Nahanta or the Pratan Khalsa Maryada, because when they go to the Gurukha and they're reading, because the ethos is now more available, so they're reading ethos and they're like, I can't see this stuff at the Gurdwara. I can't see these type of things, this type of attitude when I go, see the committee or whatnot. But when you see the things who practice Shastra Vidya, when you go to Hajur Sahib, you see this type of spirit. Another thing I wanted to touch on is even though we have this rich culture of Shastra Vidya, Jud Vidya, and the Shastra Vidya and the Khalsa are inseparable, like you said. But we're still seeing kids today being bullied at school. And even though we have such a rich culture of of martial arts, being able to defend ourselves, I mean, why do you think that is?
So, from my anecdotal kind of experience, I've met Singhs and I've spoken to people that have taken Khandiki Bahal that don't even know what Simran is. So what that tells me is there's a massive knowledge gap. And either things are just kind of thrown on kids, i.e. grow your hair, and it's kind of almost like a ritual. In the same way, go jake mathate, go jake mathate. No one is like, whether it's parents not teaching their children, or the kids are not eager to learn. I'm not a parent, so I don't really know. But
there's a knowledge gap.
Yeah. So the kids, realistically, they need to first know, why am I growing my hair? What does this represent? From a spiritual perspective. So what am I here to do as a human being? Being a Khalsa, Guru Gobind Singh Ji created the Khalsa. That's after 10 gurus the Khalsa was created. Before then there was 9 gurus, right? And the first 5 gurus were not even Shastratari. So I believe that if you look at it from that perspective, there should be at least a foundation of spirituality, of Naam Simran, of why we're doing what we're doing, and then on top of that, then you add the Shastra Vidya, But then you've got to. these Sakyan that another problem is the Sakyan that are told, they're very they're glorified, but in a unpractical way.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So when I wanted to learn how to do Shastra or learn how to use weapons, I was kind of inspired by stories like Baba Deep Singh with his head him holding his head whilst his wing slashed. Now I remember when I was starting on my case, I think I was saying I'll speak to something, and I said to him, I told him, and I want to learn how to do learn how to use Shastra, and he said, bro, it's if you're going to fight Maharaj's Kirpa, with Maharaj's Kirpa you just know how to use it. But the thing is, nowhere in Itihas I've seen where they it's like that.
Yeah, Maharaj
they rely on their own skill to accomplish the feats that they accomplished. Even the Sakhi of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, where when he shoots an arrow miles away to the hill riders.
Is it Jamkor?
Yeah, playing. I can't remember if it's Jamkor.
Or was it Anandpur Sahib? I think it's Anandpur Sahib.
Yeah.
And they shot the
pen shot around the pen chest.
Yeah.
And then I think there's a note fixated saying I did this, like something along that I did this using my own effort.
Yeah, this wasn't a karamat.
Yeah, this is not a miracle. So I think what's happened is there's a massive miracle element associated with everything, and we've just taken the practicality out of it.
But I'd say 100%. But I personally believe that miracles do exist. But we don't. Your job isn't to rely on miracles.
Well, that's like if you look at Banda Singh Bahadur
and Tat Khalsa. That was the difference.
Yeah, he relied on his miracles. Tat Khalsa relied on their badassery.
Yeah.
And they prevailed.
And when and I think it's important for the viewers to understand that when we say like Ape, they relied on their own skills, is not saying that is something else. But what the way I actually see it is, they relied on their own skills, but they actually relied on hukum.
Yeah,
they had faith on Guru Sahib's Maryada.
Yeah.
Like saying like on Asi, there's a Sakhi on like ghosts and going into will you get possessed or X Y and Z possession, do they exist? But if you have Purosa in your Guru Sahib Maryada that be Asi nitne saying yes nama bias naam jure nothing's gonna happen. Why is that? Why is that different to saying asi nitnemi bande hain, asi shastra vidya karde hain, sanu koi dar nahi?
It's true.
It's the same thing.
It's the same principle.
It's the same, and I think it's the way it's worded is different, and I think it's hard for people to hear that. Sikh need to learn, Khalsa need to learn how to do shastra vidya, and it's not just going to come to him overnight. Why? Why is it not going to come? Because Guru Sahib said. Guru Sahib ne hukum kita. That's like saying, I'm not going to nitne because Guru Sahib said, Akal Purkh da naam ek wari leke mukti mil jati. And it's true, it can happen. Maharaj just said it can happen, and it can happen. But bro, that's not, you're taking one pangati, one small little line, one small little aspect to cover your whole
justify your laziness.
That's it, and that's what.
Or your ignorance.
Yeah, and people will say no, Shastra Vidya is Sara Akal Purkh na kirpa na hunda. When we get into a fight, it's all Akal Purkh kirpa. Yes, but you're not at that level to see that kirpa. You're not at that level to see Akal Purkh and all. You're talking about stuff that eons ahead of you.
Absolutely.
And you start walking.
I think the problem is, I think there's a massive knowledge gap on even the process, because you've never done it. You trivialize it. You make it simpler than it is. It's only when you do it and you get slapped up, like when we train together and you get hit or whatever. It knocks the reality and it knocks the fear of you.
Yeah, 100%.
And I believe going back to the kids are a bit different, but I don't think the parents have been exposed to that.
Yeah.
And because the parents have been exposed to that, they don't have the lessons then to pass on to the children.
Yeah. And you know what the parents end up doing? They end up writing letters to the school saying, protect my kid. They start protesting. Your kid, that's not going to help.
School's brutal.
School's a bad, a terrible. Not I won't say a terrible place, but kids can be really mean, man. Kids can be really, really mean and vicious. And you writing letters to the school is not going to help. Get your kid into lessons and get them to learn how to defend themselves. But it goes back to the Sakhi of Anand Prasad, Naina Devi, when they were trying to Chandi Bargat, the Pandits.
Yeah.
And Guru Sahib, the long Sakhi short said, this is Chandi, the God. And that, what's that show? That, this is the real Karamat Edechya.
Yeah.
And that's what Guru Sahib's given to us. That Chandi vich talwar vich Karamat, yeah. And I think a lot of people are they're either not understanding the whole ethos, or some people are hiding behind half the ethos. And it's hard because you don't want to get polarized either. You don't want to go purely, it's all about Shastra Vidya, it's all about learning about how to fight, and that's it. And it's all about me, because you don't want to be like, what's his name, McGregor. Like McGregor got
well, that's why you got the Nana Vyas and the Bart that should, as you say, keep you grounded. Make you realise how you fit into the bigger picture, and then layered on top of that is the Shastra Vidya.
Yeah, 100%.
Because without that, you're gonna become Hangari. You're gonna become a victim to your own ego.
100%. And then there's another type of people I've also met at camps, and just people, going around the UK. I've met some people, and there's one person that said to me, if someone slaps you should turn the other face, because they never down there. And I'm like,
okay, yeah.
Like,
how does that reconcile with the Mata the Khalsa?
And what they're saying, what he's basically saying, and I think this is what's happened, is there's Nimrta Asal, they don't understand what Nimrta is. Nimrta is, this person, I know this person, he can't fight to save his life. If someone slapped him in the face, he hasn't got the option to slap him back.
Yeah.
He hasn't got the power.
Yeah.
He's gonna get bad. So saying, okay, I'm letting you slap me, that's not Nimrta.
Yeah.
You haven't got any other option. Like Nimrta is saying, okay, you want to start a fight. I'm not fighting you because I know I'll beat you up.
Yeah.
That's Nimrta.
Yeah.
Like a dangerous person that's not being dangerous. That's Nimrta. Having someone who can't do any damage, full stop, and and he's hiding behind the farce of saying, I'm not fighting because I don't want to, because it's this is not the right way. That's wrong. If you like, as a Sikh, and if you're listening and you don't want to fight, that's perfectly fine, bro. We're not promoting violence, but you need to know how to. And only then, when you have the power of I know I can fight, and I know I can defend myself, and you choose not to, asal Nimrta edechya. That's true Nimrta.
Yeah, but on the topic of Nimrta, it's also accepting the Maryada the Khalsa.
Yeah, it's true.
So Nimrta is you having the ability to get rid of what your beliefs are, regardless of whoever's influenced them or whatever, and then the ability to change your mind based on your evidence.
Yeah, 100%. It's opinion versus facts.
Yeah.
So like a manmat is your opinion.
So, and the problem is, I think there's this kind of fairy tale Sikhi that's come about. I think that's kind of causing this problem.
Like the Pracharak on stage, comes on stage, I've heard it and it's gone viral. He's come on stage and he said, Baba Jujar Singh says to Guru Gobind Singh, I don't know how to fight. Menu pata nahi ladna kidda hai, I know how to die. And he went out and he deda shahidi pai. Absolute rubbish.
That's what I mean.
Absolute rubbish. And this is the fairy tale kind of Sakya, they're getting told on stage, and this guy said it to thousands of people. No one said anything. No one said anything.
It sounds nice.
It sounds nice, but that when you read it, that's the complete opposite. The name now he Jajar likya and they go Jajar who sings. But like we're getting told these type of stories, and our kids, what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? They're gonna be like, I'm not gonna be able to fight, but I'm just gonna go and die. That's not what happened though. No, that's factually incorrect. The ideology is completely messed up. It's messed up on so many different levels, and that's the culture that we're saying, and it's completely wrong. When you read Ethos, Baba Jujar Singh went, and they had a barsha, and they, like a mala, like a rosemary.
Yeah.
That's what they did with heads on their barsha. That's how jungi they were, and it's not like they don't know how to fight.
They grew up in the court of Guru Gobind Singh.
They grew up fighting.
Yeah, they grew up
fighting. But that I completely agree. That's the issue. We get told incorrect Ethos and manipulated.
Systematically manipulated.
Yeah, that's meant to weaken us, and people think it makes us better, but no, it's more palatable People like hearing it more, and they'll get more followers. But that's not the Khalsa ethos, man. That's not the Guru Maryada.
I watched one of these videos. It was on Vasaki Lecture, I think, and someone was saying, giving the description of the Khalsa, and they broke down they fateh to mean to get freedom.
Okay. How?
And it was like literally completely pacified.
Yeah.
The Khalsa completely pacified. And you think
this is
the thing is people see this, and due to this Western very liberal lens, that's kind of just everywhere now. It fits in with that narrative, so it sounds nice. And
people are molding the Khalsa, the math to them.
Yeah, to them, or to this new kind of lens that's going on.
And it drives me mad, man. This is the bane of what's going on now. You go onto stage and you're not gonna hear the Sakya, and if you hear the Sakya, you're not gonna hear half it. You're not gonna hear about Banda Singh Bahadur when they were first given the armor, Guru Sahib's armor and the khanda.
Well, you're not gonna hear the Sakya of Guru Gobind Singh Chatka and Banda Singh Bahadur's goats.
Yeah, you're not gonna hear that.
You're not gonna hear that.
You know when Banda Singh Bahadur was given the khanda of Guru Gobind Singh, what was the first thing that happened? They didn't just walk off. The Singh slapped him and took it off him.
Yeah, they're like, yeah.
They said it's Sadaya, and what happened after that? Guru Sahib laughed. They said they like roared with laughter, saying, "Nee, tusi bahut badhiya hoya," because what's happened is you've taught the saints apna haq kida jamana, because this was by right. This conduct was for the Khalsa, and you've proven that they're ready now to take what's rightfully theirs. Now go to Punjab and take what's rightfully theirs. Yeah. You're not gonna get that anymore, because people don't. Our pracharaks don't want that. Our community doesn't want that. Our people would much rather say, the Khalsa is about living in airy fairy world, sit down and do wagyu and eat kara prashad and eat vegan food. But that's not what the Khalsa is about. But on vichar we can talk about this for ages, man. But I think we'll wrap it up for today. And thank you for coming onto the show. And we'll definitely do another podcast soon. Cool.